Welcome. Today I'd like to discuss a little bit about the process of finding your egg donor. Selecting an egg donor is definitely one of the most daunting tasks of this entire process. First, we're forced to come to terms with the fact that we're losing a genetic link to our child, eventually to our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And second of all, we've got to deal with the fact that we actually need another woman involved in creating our own children. It's really tough. And you know what? Selecting an egg donor is often one of the only things that we feel that we can control this entire process. I mean, we're not the ones in a back room jerking off into a cup, right? All we do is inject some drugs and wait and see what happens. Ultimately, it feels like it's only a higher power who really has control over our cycle. It's truly a stressful and very heavy path. There are typically 3 routes to finding your egg donor. Well, if you don't count Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, neither of which worked out for me, by the way. The first option is to use a clinic donor. Some IVF clinics maintain their own pool of donors. They've been pre-screened and pre-tested for you. You're pretty sure that they're not going to fly the coop after they get your money. The clinic will match you up with one of their donors based on your profile and your preferences. The advantage of this situation is that you will save some money on agency fees, donor travel, lawyers' fees, and stuff like that. Since your clinic has already pre-screened them, there's somewhat less risk the donor will fail out of the extensive genetic testing. However, the downside of this is that you don't really get a whole lot of choice. Their databases aren't that large. In my case, the donor that my clinic chose for me was probably somebody that I wouldn't have chosen myself. In the end, the cycle didn't work. And when I look back on it, I had some serious reservations. The girl was older than I would have liked, but because the clinic was all gung-ho for her, I went ahead. I really didn't have the balls at that time to say, you know what, stop. This isn't what I want. I really want a younger donor. I want a more proven donor. So, learn from me, all right? If you want to be a bitch, be a bitch. You're paying a lot of money. I paid $40,000 for a giant mistake and about 9 months of frustration and heartache. So be a bitch if you need to be a bitch. Demand on the donor that you want, even if it takes a little while longer. At a small clinic, the matching period can take about a month. Unfortunately, if you go somewhere like Cornell or NYU, sometimes you're looking at a year to a year and a half wait. So, be that what it may, there are other methods. The other method is to find your own donor. With this method, you're going to have to place advertisements to find your donor. Common strategies include newspapers, online advertisements on greateggs.com or Seromoms Online, or God forbid, even Craigslist. With this, you're going to end up getting a lot of profiles from girls wanting to be an egg donor. You're going to have to screen them yourself to make sure that they're not axe murderers or freaks or aliens or something like that. You're going to have to get all their medical records, submit them to testing, pre-screen them, coordinate the lawyers, the doctor's appointments, the travel, everything. Now, if you're an A-type personality, great, go for it. This might be perfect for you. But it's also a lot of stress, and there's a lot of little steps along the way. That's the disadvantage. You might mess something up. Personally, I'd be a little bit afraid of that. But hey, you will save a lot of money because you're not going to be paying for excessive agency fees. As my husband and I like to call them, donor pimps. So the option is out there. I just wanted to introduce it. The last method that I recommend is going through an agency. A quick Google search will find that there are scores of donor egg agencies online. Most of them have extensive online databases filled with young girls just wanting to be your egg donor. A lot of these places are very legit. Most of these places are very legit. You can actually go on greateggs.com to look up these egg donor agencies, and you'll see that the experiences that people have had with them can be good, can be bad, somewhere in between. Read through the profiles and make sure that the agency that you use is somebody who has a good reputation. Now, the advantage of this is that they take care of all of those little nitty-gritty details that I talked about before. The downside, it's a lot of money. It's about $3,000 to $5,000 for these donor agency fees. In the end, we decided that it was well worth the money. This cycle is stressful enough. I don't need to be worried about whether or not my donor is going to catch a plane to fly from California to wherever to come and do her cycle. I just don't want to deal with that. In my experience, I also find that it's best to go with a local donor. That way you don't have to worry about travel at all. You know that she's in the same town, it's just a car ride for her to get to the clinic, Choosing a local donor also keeps your expenses down. You're not going to have to pay for hotel stays and train rides and plane rides and everything like that. Just to warn you, using an agency is not without its stress. It is very overwhelming to look at these databases of hundreds of women wanting to donate their eggs. You look at some of these profiles, and these girls have very MySpace type pictures. They're trying to look all sexy and cute. You wonder, what the hell are they advertising? Did they just have some drunken idea over martinis one day and decide that, hey, I can get some money for selling my eggs? Or did they go shopping one too many times at Barney's and realize that they needed to dig themselves out of credit card debt? That's not the kind of donor that I wanted. I want somebody who was committed to the process and who truly understood the gravity of my situation. We chose to look for a girl who was married and had children of her own, or who had been through the process enough times before, or at least once before, to make sure that she knew what she was getting into and that she wasn't going to back out halfway through. That kind of stress is not something that we wanted to deal with. So anyway, do what's best for you. And whatever you do, just go with your heart. Some say choose a proven donor who's under the age of 30. That way you know that she can produce eggs, that she can make embryos, that her pregnancies work. After my failure, that's the route that I choose to go. But just remember that every proven donor was once unproven. If your heart tells you that this unproven donor is right, then go for it. There are plenty of women who can tell you that they've had wonderful success with a previously unproven donor. And the next thing, I believe that we are already parents. It's in our heart. I believe that our children are out there. Their spirits are there. They're just waiting for us to find a way to bring them home. Whether that's through IVF, through adoption, through fostering, or any other method. You're already a mother. Good luck with your journey. And till next time, thank you.